What if I told you that Toyota, yeah, the company that makes your mom's Camry, built a vehicle so advanced, so militaristic, and absolutely bonkers that fewer than 100 civilians were ever allowed to own one? This isn't some concept car fantasy. This is the Toyota Mega Cruiser, a machine so secretive that most people don't even know it exists. Built to destroy the Hummer H1, engineered like a tank, and killed off before it could conquer the world. And here's the kicker. Toyota wanted you to forget this thing ever happened. It's the early 1990s. America's flexing with the Hummer H1, this enormous, unstoppable military beast that Arnold Schwarzenegger convinced AM General to sell to civilians because, why wouldn't you want to drive a tank to Whole Foods? Meanwhile, across the Pacific, the Japanese self-defense forces are watching, and they're not impressed. See, Japan had a problem. Their military vehicles were decent, but they weren't dominant. They needed something that could handle Japan's insane mountain terrain, navigate narrow streets, and still project absolute authority. So they did what Japan does best. They called Toyota and said, "Build us something better than America's best." And Toyota said, "Hold my sake." But here's where it gets weird. This wasn't just going to be a military truck. Oh no, Toyota had bigger plans. Plans that would spiral into one of the most ambitious and ultimately doomed projects in automotive history. So how did a top-secret military project become a civilian legend? And why did Toyota bury it? The birth of a beast. In 1993, Toyota's Special Vehicle Development Division, yes, that's a real thing, and yes, it sounds like something from a James Bond movie, received their classified orders. The mission? Create a vehicle that could outperform the Hummer H1 in every measurable way, and do it quietly. Now, stop and think about that for a second. The Hummer H1 was essentially a truck with a radio. It could ford rivers, climb 60-degree inclines, and survive landmines. Toyota looked at this and said, "That's cute, but what if we made it smarter?" Here's where Toyota went absolutely insane with innovation. While Hummer was still using truck tech from the 80s, Toyota decided to throw in four-wheel steering, not just a gimmick, but a legitimate tactical advantage, a 4.1-liter turbocharged diesel engine pumping out pure torque, full-time four-wheel drive with locking differentials on all axles, independent front suspension for that chef's kiss ride quality, and portal axles to boost ground clearance without making it stupidly tall. But wait, it gets better. They armored the underside, added run-flat tires, made it NBC protected, that's nuclear biological chemical for those of you who don't speak military. This thing wasn't just a truck, it was a mobile fortress designed to survive the apocalypse while still being able to park parallel. And that four-wheel steering? Absolutely game-changing. With all four wheels turning, the Mega Cruiser had a turning radius that would make a London taxi jealous. In a vehicle that's over 18 feet long. The Hummer? That thing needed a football field to make a U-turn. Now, here's what makes this story absolutely wild. Toyota didn't just build a prototype and call it a day. No. They built hundreds of these things for the Japanese self-defense forces, police departments, fire brigades. This was a full production military vehicle. But then Toyota made a decision that would change everything. They decided to sell it to civilians. And that's where our story gets really interesting. The crazy civilian dream. Picture this. It's 1996. Toyota pulls back the curtain and reveals something absolutely nobody expected. Ladies and gentlemen, you can now buy this. The civilian Mega Cruiser. Same platform, same ridiculous capabilities, but now with luxury features, better interior trim, and a price tag that made people physically recoil. Stop laughing. In 1996 dollars, we're talking about 9.6 million yen, roughly $96,000. You could buy a fully loaded Lexus LS400 and a brand new Toyota Land Cruiser and still have enough left for a nice vacation. But Toyota wasn't trying to sell thousands of these. They knew exactly what they were doing. This was a halo vehicle, a a flex, a statement that said, "We built something so advanced that even at this insane price, people will want it." And you know what? They were right. But here's the twist. Toyota didn't really want too many people to buy it. Between 1995 and 2002, Toyota produced approximately 3,000 total megacruisers. Of those, only about 100 to 150 were civilian models. Let that sink in. Fewer than 150 people on planet Earth got to own a civilian megacruiser when they were new. Why so few? Because Toyota never really wanted a civilian market. This was a military contract first, and the civilian version was almost like a side project, a what-if experiment. Plus, let's be honest, who actually needs a vehicle like this? It's massive, over 7 feet wide. It guzzles fuel like a small aircraft. The interior, well, functional, isn't exactly Lexus-level luxury. And did I mention you basically need a commercial driver's license just to feel comfortable piloting this thing through traffic? But for those 100 or so people who did buy one, they became legends. These weren't just collectors. These were people who understood they were buying a piece of automotive history, a vehicle so rare, so strange, and so Toyota in its over-engineering that it would never be made again. And they were right. Because by the early 2000s, everything was about to fall apart. See, the megacruiser had 3 major problems, and they were about to kill the entire program.
The fall. Let's talk about why the megacruiser died. Problem number 1, money. The megacruiser was expensive to build, like really expensive. All that military-grade engineering, the 4-wheel steering, the armor plating, none of that comes cheap. Toyota was essentially hand-building these things, and while the Japanese military was paying good money for their units, the civilian market, not enough buyers to justify the costs. Remember, only 100-ish civilians bought one. That's not a market, that's a hobby. Problem number 2, the world changed. By the late 90s, Japan's economy had cooled off. The bubble had burst. Nobody was impulse buying 10 million yen military trucks anymore. And globally, the market was shifting toward luxury SUVs, things like the Lexus LX470, the Range Rover. Vehicles that were comfortable, capable, but also actually pleasant to drive every day. The megacruiser, for all its technical brilliance, felt like what it was, a military vehicle with leather seats. Problem number 3, the military didn't need more. Here's the thing, Toyota had already fulfilled most of the military contracts. The JSDF had their units, police had theirs, fire departments were set. And because Toyota built these things like tanks, literally, they didn't break down. Military units from the 90s are still in service today. When you build something too well, you kill your own repeat business. So in 2002, Toyota quietly pulled the plug. No press release, no farewell tour, no limited final edition. They just stopped making them. And for over a decade, the megacruiser faded into obscurity. Most people forgot it existed. But then, something strange started happening. Collectors started talking, enthusiasts started hunting, and suddenly, everyone realized what Toyota actually created. Because here's the truth, the megacruiser wasn't a failure. It was just too ahead of its time. And now it's one of the most sought-after Japanese vehicles ever made. But what does that legacy actually look like today? Let me show you. Legacy and the hunt. Today, finding a Toyota megacruiser is like hunting for Bigfoot, except Bigfoot would probably be easier to find. Of those roughly 100 to 150 civilian models ever made, nobody knows exactly how many still exist. Some estimates put it at fewer than 50 worldwide. And where they've ended up is fascinating. Japan, obviously, but also the Middle East, where wealthy collectors appreciate military-grade off-roaders. Russia, because Russia loves absurd vehicles. And a handful in the United States, imported by people who clearly have both money and excellent taste. If you want to buy one today, good luck. Clean civilian examples are selling for $100,000 to $150,000 USD and climbing. That's more than they cost brand new in 1996. Military versions occasionally pop up at auction in Japan, but good luck importing one. They're still considered military vehicles in many countries, which makes registration complicated. But here's what makes the megacruiser's legacy so fascinating. It proved something. It proved that Toyota could go toe-to-toe with anyone, even the American military-industrial complex, and build something better, more advanced, more capable, more intelligent. The